Hi everyone, thank you for coming to my channel today. My name is Sadie, and today I will be guiding you through a 60-minute slow flow yoga practice. So this is a great practice to do in the mornings, right when you wake up, to open up those hips and shoulders and just connect your breath to your movement. So for this practice, you will want a couple of props. That can be a yoga block, it can be pillows, blankets, whatever you have lying around your house, just to support you in some of those poses that are a little bit more challenging to hold for long periods of time. So we will get started. Begin by moving slowly to your yoga mats, and we'll start on our backs. And with each exhale, allowing the body to deepen, to grow heavier into the floor, to ground. On our next exhale, we'll draw the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a big good morning hug. Rocking the knees from side to side if that feels nice on the lower back. And we'll let the left foot fall to the ground, knee to the sky, pulling just the right leg in towards the chest. Feeling the back body elongate on the mat. We'll just grab behind the thigh and just kick that heel towards the ceiling. So not pushing or straining here, but just going as far as you can, sending that heel towards the ceiling. Feeling the hips grounded. And we'll allow that knee to bend, crossing right ankle over the top of the left knee. We'll reach around, grabbing the back of the left thigh this time and pulling this whole shape in towards the body. So this is our reclined pigeon, making sure that both feet are flexed to protect the knees. The hips are still grounded, so trying to keep them flat on the mat, along with the entire spine, and really aiming to keep the shoulders and the head pressing down as well. You can take some small rocks here, noticing any tightness in that hip and sending your exhales towards that area of tightness. Allow the entire shape to fall towards the left side of the mat until the sole of the foot connects to the ground. Then press your left hand against your right thigh and try to send it even further towards the ceiling. And see if you start to feel this stretch along the outer edge of the right leg. We'll start to lift back up to center, releasing the pressing action. And then we'll take this entire shape over to the right. So keeping that right foot hooked over the left knee, and we'll just drop it over to the right as far as you can go. And early on in our practice, start to notice if the mind wanders, if the mind is lost somewhere else. And just recognize that and take your mind back towards your body. We'll lift back up to center. This time crossing knee over knee as far as you can. And we're going to pull this whole shape in towards the body, grabbing both feet. So we're in this shoelace position, and I'm very tight here. So just pulling as far as you can towards the body, trying to keep the knees crossed, or as much as you can, and then grabbing a hold of both feet. Once you do so, relax the spine back down onto the mat. We'll let the feet go, keeping the knees crossed. Drop the whole shape over to the left, taking this full twist. And once you arrive in this full twist, we'll send that left arm out to the side, up overhead as much as we can. And then we'll start to roll onto our belly, keeping our legs where they are. We'll pull this left elbow all the way across. So now we're in these like cactus-shaped arms facing the mat, and we'll lower down, keeping the gaze looking the same direction as the knees. So feel free to take a peek at the camera if that confused you. But right now we're laying on our left side. Knees are dropped over to the left. Left elbow is drawing back the other direction to stretch out the left shoulder. And we'll exit out of this pose the same way we came in. So extending the left arm out in front of us, sweeping it over to the left side. We'll roll back onto our backs. Knees are still crossed over to the left. And then we'll lift the knees back to center, uncross, pull them both back into the chest. And notice here if one leg feels a little bit more open than the other. Hopefully it does. And we'll take that whole thing on the second side. So letting the right foot fall to the mat, knee up to the sky, grabbing behind the left thigh, sending the left heel up towards the sky. So however far you can go. It doesn't have to be a perfect right angle from the hip. It can be a little bit more diagonal. Just starting to get into the hamstring. Really being aware of the hips and the shoulders connected to the earth. We'll start to bend the left knee, crossing the left ankle over the top of the right knee. We'll reach around the right thigh and pull this position towards the body. Keeping that flex in the feet, a grounding in the upper body. And notice on each exhale, if you can release into this stretch even more. And we'll allow this entire shape to fall over to the right this time, bringing the sole of the left foot to connect to the ground, and then using your right hand to press the left knee even more, sending it up towards the sky. And notice here if you start to grip in the hips, in the jaw, and try to release that. On your next inhale, release the hand from the leg and start to lift up out of this fold. And then we'll send both legs over to the left, keeping that left foot hooked across the right thigh or knee. So this is just a little counter moment. We'll lift back up to center, crossing the knees completely over now. So crossing left knee over the right. And we'll reach up and grab a hold of those feet, taking our shoelace pose. So grabbing our left foot with our right hand and vice versa. Trying to keep those knees crossed, the hips planted, shoulders planted as well. And take any small movements here that might feel good. Noticing that feeling of spreading across the lower back. So really feeling both sides of your body expanding against the ground. We'll release the feet and take both knees across towards the right side. Taking this deep twist. And we'll start to reach the right arm to our side, all the way out and up, rolling onto our right side. And then we'll pull that right elbow across, coming into this cactus shape with our right arm, and then lower down, taking a stretch. And try to really release any tension in the body here. Taking one final breath. And we'll come out of this the same way we came in, lifting up, extending the right arm out in front of us, sweeping it across to the right side, rolling onto our backs. And we'll lift those knees up and unwind. Right away, we'll come back to our right side, so drawing the right knee into the chest. And we'll grab the outside of the right foot, coming into a half happy baby. So pulling the knee towards the right side, trying to keep the sits bones planted. And this is a free pose, so take any movements, any sways that help you settle even deeper into this posture. And notice if your hips are leaning towards the right or the left. Try to balance, and you can even send the left knee out a little bit towards the corner for stability. Keeping that foot flexed, we'll now reach the left arm up to hook it underneath the left ankle, and then reach the right arm underneath to hook it right underneath the shin. So we have this nice hold of the lower leg. Crown lifted up, lifting off the floor, upper back lifting off. And then we'll start to send the left leg long. And just feeling that nice stretch. Another take on this pigeon pose. We'll release the leg, draw the knee back into the chest. And then take it across, supine twist, dropping right knee over to the left. We'll roll back to center, drawing both knees back into the chest. We'll drop the right leg down, pulling the left knee in closer. And we'll take our half happy baby. So grabbing onto the outer edge of the left foot, pulling the knee down towards the left side of the mat. And then opening up the right knee for a counterbalance if you need. Keeping your breathing deep and keeping your attention focused. We'll bend that knee even deeper, lifting the head off of the mat, and take this hooking action. So hooking the left hand underneath the ankle. The right hand underneath the ankle, the left hand underneath the upper part of the leg, and then we'll let the right leg extend down. So pulling the nose towards that ankle. We'll lower the head back down, release the leg, take that knee back to parallel, and drop it over to the right, taking our twist. And feel free to extend the left arm out at the shoulder. And the gaze can look over towards that hand or up at the ceiling. And rolling back, we'll draw both knees to the chest. Rocking side to side, massaging the lower back. And then we'll rock up to all fours or tabletop pose. So take as many rocks as you'd like, really massaging through the spine. And we'll meet in our tabletop pose. So coming onto hands and knees. Aligning the wrists right underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And right away, we'll just find length in the spine. So reaching the crown away from the tail. And we'll start by dropping the belly. Inhale, look forward. And exhale to round. Inhale, drop the belly. And exhale, round. Inhale, drop. And exhale, round. Coming back to neutral. And we're going to try something here. We're going to flip both of the palms towards the body. So send those fingers halfway around so that the fingers are facing you and the wrists are facing the front of your space. Really feeling that stretch in the arm. And once you arrive here and you feel stable, start to do your cat-cows. So try them out and see what happens. If it's too much for you, feel free to go back to the first round that we were doing where your fingers were facing the front of the space. And if not, just play around here. Taking one more round wherever you are. And if your hands are flipped, bring them back to their regular position, fingers facing the front of the space, and just notice how your arms feel. Right away, we'll press left hand into the mat as we extend the right arm up to the sky. And we'll thread the needle, dropping right shoulder down to the mat. And notice if your hips are swaying over to one side or the other. Really draw them both back equally. If you feel really comfortable here, you can move forward and try to extend the left leg back, coming onto the ball of the left foot. And if your leg is extended, just keep it where it is. And if it's not extended, you'll meet up with us in a moment. We'll walk that left hand right back underneath the shoulder, unwind, sending the right arm back up towards the sky. And now, if your leg is not extended, just extend the left leg out behind you. And we'll bend the left leg, reaching the right arm around to grab a hold of that foot, taking our tiger pose. So pressing foot into hand, shifting the gaze forward, and really connecting your focus with something. One more breath here. And let it go, bringing everything back down to a tabletop. We'll inhale, left arm reaches to the sky. And on an exhale, left shoulder connects with the mat, threading it through. Really expanding the rib cage on every breath. And if you did it on the first side, start to extend that right leg behind you, keeping the ball of the foot connected to the earth. And we'll press the right hand down, lifting up to unwind. Left arm re-extends. And from here, if your leg is not extended, extend it. And then we'll bend right knee and reach the left arm all the way around to grab onto the foot. Pressing foot into hand, opening the chest up to the front of the space. We're here for just 3 breaths, trying to draw that knee towards the ground as the toe reaches up to the sky. And let it go, bringing hand and knee back down to the mat. And we're going to take a waving action with the body, so sitting the hips back. And we'll roll through our cat pose, rounding at the spine, and then roll down thighs, hips, lower belly, chest, chin. Lifting up, head lifts up first, pressing the hips up and back, child's pose. So inhale to roll forward, exhale to roll down. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, send it back. 2 more like that. Inhale, rolling down. Inhale, exhale, rolling back. Inhale, down. Try to take up a lot of space, getting the body to reach all the positions. Once you get to your child's pose, open those knees nice and wide, extend the arms in front of you. We'll look at the hands and start to walk our hands over to the right side. So off the yoga mat, reaching the fingertips as far as they can go. And once you get as far as you can go, just draw the hips back and allow the crown of the head to fall to the ground. We'll walk it over to the second side, so walking through center, The fingertips will come off the mat to the left, and we'll take it over. Dropping the forehead down, pulling the right hip back. Coming back to center. We're going to lower the elbows down now and just walk those elbows out a little bit further. And then we're going to pull back, trying to get the forearms on the mat. Thumbs come to the back of the neck, palms are connected. We'll release the arms back down. Plant the hands. We'll lift up, walk the knees underneath us, tuck the toes, and we'll make our way to a downward facing dog. So really take your time. We've been down for a while. Pedaling out the feet. And we'll shift our weight to our left foot. Step our right foot forward in between the hands. And just drop the back knee. Right away, we'll reach those arms overhead for a crescent lunge. Pressing the hips forward. Drawing the palms of the hands together and down to the heart, we'll take our prayer twist. So crossing left elbow over the right knee and trying to get those palms to the center of the chest. We'll unwind, drawing the hands down, and we'll start to pull the hips back, coming into our half splits, flexing the right toes towards the face. And from here, just adjust that front foot out a little bit more in front of you so that this hip is right over the knee. And then we'll walk our hands over to the left side. And then pull the hips back and away. Walking back towards the front of our mat. We'll shift back to the low lunge, keeping that knee back down. And we'll reach our right arm all the way up and around towards that back wall. And then if you'd like a little quad stretch here, you can reach around, kicking that left leg up and grabbing a hold of the foot with your right hand. One more breath here. And on an exhale, we'll release everything. Right hand comes down, and let's heel toe that right foot nice and wide, taking our lizard pose. So you can stay up on your hands or lower down to your elbows if you're feeling like it today. So those are our two options. Wherever you are, you're letting those hips sink, letting the chest radiate towards the front of the room. And then we'll press into the hands, shifting the right knee back to meet the left. We'll tuck the toes and make our way back, downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet. And we'll shift our weight to the right foot, stepping the left foot in between the hands, dropping the back knee, coming into our low lunge. Arms reach up overhead for our crescent. And then we'll draw the palms together and down to the heart, taking our prayer twist. So crossing right elbow over the left knee, and then trying to press so that we can align thumbs with the center of the chest. And gently we'll unwind. Hands coming down to frame the front foot, and we'll start to draw the hips back, flexing the left toes. And then you can just wiggle that left toe even further forward so that we have a nice straight line from knee to hip on the right side. Walking both hands over to the right side. Let me just move my props. And then we'll keep walking the fingertips out towards that right corner as we pull the hips back to the left corner. Allowing the body to release just a little bit further on every exhale. One more breath here. And we'll lift up, start to walk our hands back to the front of the mat. We'll roll forward, adjusting that left foot in whatever way we need. We'll plant the right hand, reach the left arm up and around to the back. And then if you feel like staying here, you can, or you can take that extra quad stretch, catching the right foot in the left hand. Making sure that we're not on the kneecap, so pressing over the top of that right knee. And this can be pretty intense. So just make sure that the intensity stays in the hips and doesn't creep up into the shoulders or the jaw. Take your final breath here and gently release that hold. We'll bring both hands to the inside of the left leg once more. Heel toe the left leg nice and wide, coming into our lizard pose. So either hands are down or you can drop down to those elbows, whatever works for you. I'm going to stay up today. And just letting that heart shine forward. We'll press the hands down and send that left leg to meet the right, tucking the toes and lifting the hips up, downward facing dog. Noticing the backs of the legs, how they may have changed since the beginning of class. And this is going to be our one moment of very tiny core work. We'll draw the right knee across to the left elbow. Kick that right heel out towards the left side, coming into our fallen triangle, coming onto the inner edge of the left foot. And then we'll reach that left arm high. Just a quick moment here, and then we'll let the hips just sink down exactly where they are. Bending both heels towards the left. So we're coming into this bent knee position. And then we'll walk the elbows down behind us. And as you walk those elbows down, just make sure that both knees are really pressing towards the mat. So not letting them kick up. And then if you're feeling like it, you can relax the entire upper body on the ground. Taking that left hand and sweeping it up overhead. And then as if we're taking a side stretch, we'll reach that left arm over to our right side, coming onto the right elbow, and then we'll reach that left arm up in our actual side stretch. So feeling the length, a pulling of the fingertips one direction, of the hips another. We'll drop the left hand down and just rotate the torso towards the floor, and now let it fall again. Pressing into the hands, we'll lift up. And just take the left arm to the right thigh and just take a little twist here. Releasing from this twist, we'll take that back leg, which would be our left leg, take it all the way around and cross the ankle over the right knee. From here, we'll grab a hold of that left leg with the right arm and just twist over the left shoulder, trying to connect both sits bones and both feet to the ground. One last breath here. We'll release that leg, unhooking the left leg, and we'll shift towards the front of the mat, coming into our pigeon pose. So shifting that right leg so it's in front of us, or I guess right underneath us. And then taking any props that you'll need. We're going to stay in this pigeon pose for 2 to 3 minutes. So you can put any props underneath your hips to make it more comfortable for you. underneath the chest and underneath the forehead. Before you fold, just make sure that that back leg is in alignment with the hip. Come to the fingertips. We'll lift up and out of the hips. And then as we fold forward, think of reaching up and out, coming on down. And just allow the body to relax here. We'll slowly start to lift up and out of this pose. Moving really slowly, removing any props that we may have used. And make your way back to a downward facing dog. So be really gentle with the re-extending of the right leg. And just take a moment here. Pedal it out. And we'll shift the weight onto the right foot, drawing the left knee over to the right elbow. We'll kick that left heel out to the right wall, reaching the right arm up, coming onto the inner blade of the right foot. Without adjusting the feet, we'll just lower the hips down. And then bend both heels towards the right. Once you get here, start to walk it down onto your elbows behind you, keeping both knees pressing down. And if you came onto your back on the first side, you can do so here too. So just allow the body to relax down. You can bring a hand to the belly, maybe a hand to the hip. And if you feel any tension in the knees, just come back up, come out of this pose. Not all of our bodies are the same, and sometimes this pose can affect the knees in strange ways, but if you're not feeling anything, you can stay here. One more breath. And on the exhale, we'll reach the right arm out to the side and sweep it up overhead, coming into that side stretch. So coming over onto the left elbow, we'll reach the right arm over the top. Reaching towards the front of the space, really feeling length in the back body. We'll lower the right hand down, lift up. We'll rotate all the way over to face the mat, and then take another fold all the way down. You can keep the palms pressing against the earth. And we'll press to lift back up. We'll just take a nice twist here. So taking the right hand over the left thigh, left hand behind us, and just take a nice twist against that. We'll release that twist, and then just take the right leg, and we're going to cross it over the left knee. Grabbing a hold of that right leg with the left arm, we'll lift up, and on an exhale, twist to the right. Trying to connect that right foot to the earth, as well as the right hip. And on an exhale, release that pose, taking your right leg out and all the way around behind you. We're going to come into our pigeon pose. So make sure to have those props nearby. Checking behind you to make sure that that right leg is coming right out of the hip. Folding the left knee in. You can either have it at a right angle, or you can have it folded in a little bit closer to the body. From here, grab any props that you might want. Now that you felt what the first side feels like, you might want to lift yourself up just a little bit more. We'll bring the fingertips down, lifting the chest up, reaching up and out of those hips. And then we'll fold forward. Just allowing the entire body to relax into this moment. Taking one final breath here. We'll press the hands down underneath the shoulders, lifting up and carefully out of this pose, removing the props to the side that you might have used. And we'll step that left foot back to a downward facing dog. Just taking a moment here, pedaling out the feet. And we'll start to lower the knees down to the mat, sitting over to one side. Sending the legs out in front of us. We'll bring any props that we might have onto our legs. And we're just going to take a forward fold. We'll only stay here for about a minute, but just allowing the body to hang over those legs, really relaxing. The feet can be relaxed as wide as you'd like. We'll start to lift up and out of this pose, rolling on down to our final rest, Shavasana. So get nice and comfortable. Put any pillows or blankets underneath you that might lift you up into a comfortable position. And then just take up a lot of space before you let the eyes soften. And because this is a morning practice, we won't stay in Shavasana for very long. So take these few final moments to really release the body into the earth, noticing any changes you may feel. If you've noticed the mind is wandering, gently start to bring it back. Start to send energy down to the fingers and toes. Allow the head to rock from side to side. We'll start to roll onto our right side, coming into a fetal position, keeping the eyes soft. And we'll use our hands to press our weighted bodies all the way up to a comfortable seat. Once you find a seat, bring your hands together into your heart. I hope this class leaves you feeling energized to take on the rest of your day. We'll draw the hands to the third eye, connecting thumb. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.